Wanted. This movie features the superheroes of the assassin world and gives the middle finger to physics everywhere. Let's jump in and talk about it. Warning, there will be spoilers. Okay, this movie has a great lineup of actors. It stars James McAvoy, Angelina Jolie, Morgan Freeman. It was released in 2008 and was directed by Timur Bekmambetov, the same director who gave us titles like Night Watch, Day Watch, and if rumors are believed, coming soon, Twilight Watched. Now, it's important for me, before I start watching a movie like this, to reflect back on one of my favorite philosophers, King James. Well, he's more of a character in the movie Trespass than he is a philosopher, but his wisdom is beyond reproach, and I quote, "You just have to be philosophical about this shit, man. It's all crazy. As long as you know it's crazy, you're alright. But the moment you try and make logic out of this, you f***ed up because it don't make no sense." Now, with this little tidbit in the back of our mind, let's dive right in. The scene starts out with Wesley Gibson, loser. He's in a toxic relationship with a nagging girlfriend. He's pushed around and bullied at work by a nasty beast of a boss. His best friend is taking advantage of him and is sleeping with said girlfriend behind Wesley's back. And he's cash-strapped, living in a crappy apartment. As a matter of fact, this movie goes out of its way to paint Wesley as a loser, stopping just shy of having a stray dog wander over and piss on him. We follow Wesley as he's contacted by Fox. An attempt is made on his life, resulting in one of the most evenly matched car chase scenes I've ever seen between a Dodge Viper and a pet food delivery van. As the movie progresses, Wesley is drawn deeper into the assassin underworld. He learns that his father was an assassin in the Fraternity, an ancient organization who determines their targets through the fabric weaved from the loom of fate. Errors in the weave spell out the names of the targets, and the Fraternity executes them. Literally. His father was killed by a rogue member named Cross, who was bent on wiping out every member of the Fraternity and bringing it all crashing down. The casts are all seasoned veterans who know exactly what they're doing, and their performances were spot on. Even the supporting actors managed to make it onto my list of people not to mess with.
You're a pussy.
The movie has fast-paced action sequences, and the visuals are impressive, along with a great soundtrack. But as I watched this movie again to do the review, I started noticing more and more things that forced me to reflect back on my philosophy lessons. Wesley's first encounter with Fox leads to a shootout in a pharmacy. In this scene, Fox is using what I think is a corner-shot weapon system. It's a great action scene all in all, but I can't get behind her using this device for some reason. I think it's when she's flailing it around, shooting out the mirrors, that just doesn't sit well with me. And that was my experience through the whole movie. A collection of small and not so small elements creeping into the scenes, dragging the experience down for me. There's a car chase scene early on in the movie. Visually it looks impressive, but I can't help but wonder why they felt a pet food delivery van was a good matchup for a Dodge Viper. Sure, the bobbleheads provide a good little chuckle, but at some point, logic starts to claw its way out. There's a point where the Viper flips and hits the side of a bus, causing it to topple over onto its side, and then they drive off it. The effect is very clunky and unnatural feeling. Okay, so there's some things about this movie I have to accept in order for the story to make some sense. 1. There's a magical loom that selects names of people who need to be assassinated for the good of humanity. Okay, fine. The Fraternity members have the ability to increase their heart rate and perceive time moving slowly. Alright, sure, I'm still here. They can curve bullets. Okay, you're pushing it, but okay, I'll buy it. But then the movie starts to change the rules and ignores the simple little things like physics when it ceases to become convenient. For instance, there's a scene when we're introduced to Wesley's father. He walks into an office to inquire about a bullet recovered from one of Cross's victims. After looking at it for 3 seconds, she informs him that it's untraceable and promptly gets killed. There are snipers in the building across the way and they're trying to eliminate them. Now, I'm not going to go over the mountain of questions like, how does an increased heart rate allow you to run so fast you create a wake? How is it that you don't break your face as you slam it through a reinforced plate glass window? How fast do you need to be going to fly hundreds of feet between buildings in almost a straight trajectory? How do you kill 3 hitmen while flying through the air, slam through a second plate glass window, run up a flight of stairs, kill the 4th hitman while still having a pristine suit and not a single scratch? No. What I really want to know is, why do they always have their mouth wide open when they slam their face through windows? I can't stop thinking about the interrogation scene in Dogs of War. Glass in the mouth hurts. One of the last things I'm going to pick on is the train scene in Eastern Arabia. Here we have Cross and Wesley shooting it out on a packed train. A few more questions come to mind here. Why do passengers find it necessary to jump directly into the path of danger? Is duck and cover no longer a thing? And I know the loom rids us of horrible people, but is collateral damage okay? Wesley ends up falling into a river at the bottom of Gorge at the end of this scene. He wakes up in America in an old house across the tracks from his old apartment. Now, in order for this to happen, we have to assume that this man followed the train, rappelled down a gorge, followed the river, pulled an unconscious 180-pound man out of the river, put him on a plane, then a taxi, dragged him up a flight of stairs, and drew a nice hot wax bath for him. Really? Is that what I have to assume? I did enjoy watching the progression of Wesley's character as he's transformed from a pathetic, trampled-on wretch to a highly trained killer. And when you say that out loud, it doesn't sound quite right. A good scene that illustrates this is when he returns back to his office after his first encounter with Fox. All of Wesley's father's assets have been transferred to him. His confidence starts to grow at this point, and he finally stands up to his boss and puts her in her place. Breaks her red stapler. Nice little call out to Office Space. And as he's leaving, he decorates his friend's face with a keyboard. It's a great little scene that shows Wesley's growth as a character. To sum this movie up in a nutshell, this is a popcorn flick. Sure, it has a great lineup of actors and the impressive visuals, but the second your thinking meat starts to turn on even in the slightest, this movie starts to fall apart real fast. And that sums it up. I'd like to thank you for sharing your time with me today. I hope you enjoyed this review of Wanted. Please stay tuned for more reviews to come. Take care.